So shit. Hi guys, this is like an intro video to mine and Simon's server that we're going to have running, which is what we've created the channel for. So this is going to go on the new channel. And our server is going to be sort of a faction orientated server, which is, what I mean by that is it's going to have a faction plugin in it, that will enable us to like create factions for people, and they'll factions around the world, and people will be able to join those factions and have certain abilities. So they'll have, each person will have a role in the faction, whether that be the faction leader, which is going to be which would be the chieftain or whatever, or maybe like the head of military, or maybe a lumberjack or something like that. And they'll get paid by their faction leader to do this, to do their role, and they then can spend that money on going to the shops, because we'll have shops plugins, we'll have the currency system, and yeah. So as I said, each person will have a role. So me and Simon have also decided that people in a faction can have, not in a faction, can have roles as well. They don't necessarily have to be in a faction. For instance, me and Simon built an area with like a lot of mini games in it for factions to compete against each other. So like we have Spleef, and we have Simon's done some like one-on-one fighting arena thing with like arrows flying out everywhere. And yeah, we'll need referees for that. So we could, I think me and some of the admins are probably going to pay the referees to do that. Well, like people who want to be a referee to do that. And basically, a thing like that, like obviously, it's got to be fair, hasn't it? So if a person is a non-faction, they can't be biased towards people that are in like the different factions, because obviously they're not in one of the factions. So yeah, we have like anti-grief plugins as well, which are going to be like restricted to certain areas. So like, say if a faction wanted to take over another faction, they could go to war and stuff, and each like faction will have a settlement. So they'll be able to go to their faction, they'll be able to have a war and stuff. And what am I trying to say here? They'll be able to cause destruction, they'll be able to damage all the other settlements to try and take them over, because we'll set it so the anti-grief plugin will only apply to certain areas. Like we have safe zones in the server as well, which is like we have a starter village where new players will start in this village, and it'll be safe from PvP and destruction and monsters and stuff. So they can start there and get a bit more info and get their grasps to what they're doing. So that will obviously be protected, but stuff like settlements won't be protected. Well, not be so limited. We'll probably protect it to some extent, like with we're going to have there's a plugin called LWC which we're going to be using, which will basically private chests, signs and dispensers and stuff, and they'll have like passwords on it, and only certain people with the right password or certain permissions will be able to access them. So you can keep things very private, even within the faction. So like you could have, say, a faction leader could have a building to himself, and he didn't want anyone else to access it, because you could do it to doors as well. Like you could privatise the door, and no one else could get in there if he so desired. So yeah, that's the basic essence of it. So Simon has like a few videos lined up about the settlements that we've built for which factions can claim, and I think he still needs to edit some of them. He still needs to edit them. But yeah, more info about what I've said can be found on the site. I mean, it's a lot more detailed than what I've said here. And yeah, so if you have any questions, you can comment or send us a private message, and we're glad to get back to you. Yeah, so see you later.